A very warm, festive welcome to the Women's Rugby Pod. We've got a festive roundup for you today on the show, the last one before Christmas. Here's what's coming up. We've got Rachel Malcolm, Dr. Rachel Malcolm, the Scotland captain, to reflect on Scotland's advancements to professional contracts. We've got Hannah O'Connor from Blackrock College, who were crowned champions at the weekend in the AIL League. And we've also got Gloucester-Hartpury and Wales hooker Kelsey Jones to reflect on the Gloucester-Hartpury outstanding start to the season in the English Premier XVs. We've got all the news, of course, as well. Results from France. We've got news from Italy, Spain, Hong Kong, as well as some fixture announcements from Ireland. That's all coming up on the WRP. Well, let's start on the international scene. Last week, Scotland announced professional contracts have been awarded to 28 players as part of its continued investment into the women's game. The contracts will run from December 2022 to November 2023. The first year focusing on the skills and physical development of each individual player who will be based at their existing clubs, while also providing players the opportunity to have greater time for off-field performance activities such as analysis and recovery. Big news from Scotland. Big Scottish guest, the one and only Dr. Rachel Malcolm. Here we are then. A very good morning to Dr. Rachel Malcolm, the fully professional rugby player. Merry Christmas, Rachel. How are we?
I'm very well, thank you. Very happy.
Yeah, you seem very happy. Look, let's get straight into it. How good does that sound? That this game that you have given blood, sweat, tears, and a huge amount more to is now your full-time job alongside, was it 27 other players?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. If I'm honest, like just hearing people say the words this week, it still doesn't feel quite real. I think, for me, I didn't think, obviously, like we've it's been talked about and we've pushed for it and stuff like that, but I didn't think it would come just yet. I wasn't sure if it would come while I was playing, like all the bits, and like it's never been about us, it's been about growing Scotland women and pushing us forward, but this is such a massive step for that. And I think, we as a squad are just so passionate about like trying to put us on the map and push us forward. And this just gives us the best opportunity to do that. And the biggest thing for me is just how exciting it is that like young Scottish girls can now like aspire to be professional rugby players. It's very cool.
How much chat was there? You got a lot of time together in New Zealand and probably since, and been spending a bit of downtime, whatever. It was spoken about, but unions quite often speak about lots of things, and there's lots of words and not so much actions. But how much was it spoken about? Do you know what happens if we actually, if it does happen?
Yeah, I think in the last it's not necessarily been like an overnight process. So it's not a surprise to us that it's happened. It was kind of, I think it was really in the limelight, wasn't it, over the Six Nations? I think, the countries who were and the countries who were, and I think that really like pushed conversations forward. I think seeing the benefit of having support in the lead up to the qualifiers and stuff like that, like it really showed how important it was for us to have that to be. But we've been in the conversation, which I think is super important. We've had a voice, and I think that's massive in any sport, like for the players to have some kind of voice within it. And but yeah, no, like it's been brilliant, and we kind of knew about it before we went to New Zealand, so it meant that when we were out there we weren't thinking about it, which I think is really important as well. It wasn't something that we had that uncertainty in our mind, which is really good as well. So no, it's been talked about for a long time. There's always that excuse that people like to throw in, and we don't like to talk about it as an excuse that we're not professional, because we've always had this kind of standpoint that we do act as professionals, like that's what it's about, your behaviours, and yet it's a choice. But now it just makes it that bit easier, and it makes all the bits that go with it that bit more important. The recovery side of things in particular, I've already seen like a massive difference in terms of just having that extra bit of time to switch off mentally and physically and get your body right for training and games. So yeah, it's super exciting.
Well, you kind of touch on what one of the points I wanted to pick up on then was what difference does it make? And as you say, it was coming, wasn't it? You paid for that block time together, but before the World Cup and what have you, and you're obviously out in the World Cup. What does it actually mean? And you've got a taste of it then in New Zealand, although it's slightly different. What does it physically and mentally mean that you can actually just concentrate on being an athlete 24/7? What does it mean? You know, the people out there, what does that difference actually physically mean on the ground?
So traditionally, we would have all worked kind of like Monday to Friday, trained pre and post work Monday to Friday, and then travelled up Scotland generally on like a Friday night after work. Been in camp all day Saturday, all day Sunday, travelled home either Sunday night or early Monday morning and started again. It's gradually over the last kind of year or two changed away from that a little bit. But now it means that the bulk of us can just train throughout the day with our clubs. So obviously a lot of us are down south in the Prem 15s, which generally, you know, all the clubs have a really good professional setup. So, and a lot of daytime trainers. So we do a lot of our training in the daytime now. It means that you can recover between sessions, you can get enough time to do your analysis and stuff like that, you get your nutrition right. It also means that we can now live throughout the week rather than at weekends. So it means that you actually have a day off every now and again, which is crazy. And yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is the time to recover. For me, the time to recover mentally, because usually any free time has always been spent kind of working, just trying to get on top of things and bits and bobs like that. Whereas once you've kind of got your training out the way, your analysis out the way, you can actually switch off from both rugby, life, work, whatever. So that's massive. And I think we probably have always neglected how important that is in performance, because we've always just been so used to being busy. But yeah, that's something I've felt a big difference from.
And the only thing I was going to pick up on from your previous answer was you said you're part of that conversation. How did that work? How has that possibly shaped this decision? And yeah, what it means to you guys if having a player there rather than not having a player there. How did were you involved? Are you personally involved in those conversations?
So when I say we were involved in the conversation, we were kind of kept in the loop throughout the process in terms of obviously what they planned to do. There was a big point around infrastructure and making sure we had the right infrastructure and the right plan, so not just throwing money at something before we necessarily were ready to. So that's why we had individual plans in the lead up to qualifiers and World Cup to allow for us all to kind of maintain bits of our life and stuff like that before they knew for sure that they had a secure plan and the infrastructure to support us in professional contracts. So we were kind of kept in the loop with that and where things were moving with that. And then once that was all sorted, then they kind of got their heads around how it would look and how it would work, because it's so different for all the different unions. You know, I think, England have it in a good sense in that their players are all located in the same country. Obviously, I think about 90% of us are down here. Wales are a bit closer to Wales. Ireland are about half and half in terms of where they're distributed. So it's like for all of us, it's quite different. And I think how the contracts are going to look and how the infrastructure looks is different. So I think that was like a big thing for them, was that they wanted to get how that looked right and how they supported us right, which I personally think is so important. In terms of making the most of that step up. So yeah, I'm happy with kind of how we've got to here. And now it's just about pushing on and making the most of it.
Rachel, does it feel? I mean, it's a coarse thing to say, isn't it? And Jim Mallender, lovely Jim Mallender, your high performance director there at the SRU, seeing it as a landmark moment for the women's performance program. But does it feel like a new chapter? You and I have spoken regularly over the last few years, and the waters haven't always been calm. There's been some choppy waters there. Is it a moment to go, bang, that's water under the bridge right now? We start and we go from here.
I personally think yes. I think we've had a long kind of, I talk about it like a 6-year program in terms of that build up to the last World Cup, in terms of letdown of not getting in the last one and trying to get to this one and playing in this one. So there's been so much happening in that block of time, and it is almost now like, right, it is a new era. Like we talked a little World Cup about a new era of Scotland women, and I think that's something that we wanna push on, especially now that we have got this place for the first time. And I think we've proven with our performances how close we are getting with, you know, every team we come up against. Except maybe the Black Ferns, that was a bad day. But we are getting closer and closer. We're closing that gap, and I think, you know, the difference that this now professionalisation of our team could make in terms of, you know, us being on the right side of those 3-point games is massive. So I think, you know, once we start getting those results, the belief, the confidence, the buy-in from fans, from the union, everything, it all comes, doesn't it? So I think, yeah, I really do think this is a new kind of starting point for us, and one we're super passionate about pushing on from.
Awesome. I won't keep you any longer because it's Christmas and you're wrapping to do or whatever. What have you asked Father Christmas for?
So I want to start playing golf.
Of course, you're Scottish.
Yeah, that's for a couple golf clubs.
Nice. Oh, well, look.
It's a bit random.
No, not in the slightest, but you won't guess them under the tree if they've been wrapped, will you? So the surprise will be brilliant.
I actually I'm also going to go and pick them, so it's probably not going to be a huge amount of surprise.
Right, okay, just a small bow. Okay, just smash all the magic at Christmas, Doctor. That's fine. No, that's great. Look, Rachel, thank you.
What have you asked for?
World peace. Love and cuddles, that's all.
Nice.
Or just some scissors to cut my hair. Anyway, no, look, it's been really nice to talk to you. I just wanted to obviously just mark those contracts, because we've marked other sort of less sort of positive news items with you, and you've always been open and honest, and yeah, we said it before, your leadership is outstanding. I'm just so pleased you get to be here in this the start of this new era. And on that note, have a few wee drams over Christmas and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, have a lovely Christmas.
Named for those contracts: Leah Bartlett, Christine Bilal, Sarah Bonner, Elianne Clark, Lisa Cockburn, Evie Gallagher, Jade Conkle Roberts, Rachel Malcolm, Ellis Martin, Rachel McLaughlin, Louise McMillan, Lindsay O'Donnell, Lana Skeldon, Jodie Retty, Emma Wassell, Molly Wright, Anne Young, Corinne Grant, Sarah Law, Katie Mattinson, Jenny Maxwell, Mary McDonald, Lisa Musgrove, Helen Nelson, Emma Orr, Chloe Rowley, Meryl Smith, Evie Wills, Rona Lloyd, Lisa Thompson and Shona Campbell have all accepted contracts with the GB7, so they'll be competing on the HSBC World Rugby 7 Series circuit for 2022-2023. Staying in the international news front, Cape Town Sevens, the winners were New Zealand, beating Australia 31-14 in the latest leg of the World 7 Series. Ireland got to another semi-final, but not to USA in the bronze medal match. Team GB finished up 6. Got some injuries there, haven't they, as well? Next up are the back-to-back events in the men's and women's at Hamilton and Sydney in late January. Staying with Sevens, it's been announced a big shake-up starting in 2023 of the World Series, not before time. The remodelling will include 7 festival-style events in 7 iconic global destinations across 7 months. See the theme here. It will feature the best 12 women's and men's teams on equal pay. An annual grand final event will crown the series champions and offer pathway to 4 women's teams to achieve promotion from the Challenger Series, and this all kicks off in December 2023. A Hong Kong 15 have beaten Kazakhstan twice in their mini-series, 31-17 in the first, and a dramatic comeback in the second to take it 14-12. In the absence of all the other teams, the Asia title is theirs as well. And Italy and Spain will lock horns in February at under-20 level. More growth for the game, perhaps a full under-20s tournament beckons in the not-too-distant future.
I'm Emma Mitchell, and you're listening to the Women's Rugby Pod.
In Ireland, the fixtures for the 2022-23 Vodafone Women's Interprovincial Championship have been confirmed. The three-round series gets underway on Saturday, January the 7th, with all games being broadcast free-to-air via TG4 and the BBC iPlayer. Round 1 sees Leinster host Connacht and Ulster travel to Munster. But in the Irish club game at the weekend, the delayed Energia AIL Ireland League Women's Division final between Blackrock College and Railway Union, the champions, was played out, and it was Blackrock College who ran out 27-7, convincing winners at Energia Park with tries from Dorothy Wall, Enya Breen, Anna Doyle and Maeve Liston. And one of the stars of that Blackrock College side is Ireland back rower Hannah O'Connor. She joins us on the pod now. Absolutely delighted to say that we've got Hannah O'Connor on the pod. Victorious Hannah O'Connor from the weekend. Ireland at Blackrock College, number 8. Merry Christmas to you, Hannah. It looks very sunny and lovely where you are. Are you well?
It does. Merry Christmas to you too, Johnny. Yeah, it does look very sunny where I am. It's a good angle of the light coming through the car window, so it's not as glorious as it looks, but we'll take it. It's not raining and not freezing over, so it's a good day.
And this is going to be ridiculous for a podcast that's just listeners, but you've got the most resplendent Christmas jumper on. That is special.
I'm trying not to move too much because I'll sound like a cat. It's one of those ones with bells, all the bells and whistles attached, literally. So I'm a teacher, so you gotta put out all the stops to impress the kids.
Awesome. So you bit of time off now.
Yes, literally just finished there at 12 o'clock. So Christmas holidays now from work. So yes, very welcomed at this stage of the year, thankfully.
Awesome. And what a Christmas present comes straight off teaching the kids, straight onto the Women's Rugby pod. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
All my Christmas presents come together.
Look, Annie, wanted to speak to you. 27-7 over Railway Union, the champs. Take us through the game.
Like every time we've come together over the last probably 2 years, I'd say, to play Railway, ourselves, Blackrock against Railway, it's always been close. It's always come down to like the finer details of things, and we didn't expect anything different on Saturday. Obviously, with the postponement, we were left waiting a week longer. So we had beaten them most recently in the league, but of course, like, doesn't really count for anything. Once you get to the showpiece, anything can happen in a final. So we were very aware of all the threats that they bring. But I think the first half, we were in good control. Like, we were getting good change off set piece, both scrums and lineouts, and then just weren't executing where we would normally consider ourselves to be quite good in those areas. Had lots of chances within the 22 and just weren't converting. I think we had our percentages were ridiculously low for our entries into the 22, which normally would be quite high. And I suppose credit to Railway as well. They were well able to scramble defence and defend well against us, as they always do. So there's no surprise there. So I think they led, 7-5 at halftime. Yeah. It was really close. And like, again, we had been in that position before where we had close half times and had to come again. So the second half, we kind of hit the ground running a lot quicker and kind of got a bit more fluidity to our play, and again kept the strength in the set piece. That was going quite well, and managed to kind of score first, and then kind of went on from there and kind of put the foot down and kept the foot down and didn't ease off, because I said we're well aware of the threats that they bring. They're a team that have finished, like we have finished strongly over the course of the league in terms of second half performances, but so have they. So it's one of those where you get a few points up, but you know that you're not home and hose just yet until the final whistle goes. So in the end, it worked out well for us, thankfully.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As you say, you got that rhythm, wrestled the game in the second half. Take us through the celebrations. Must have been a great moment. As you say, you had to wait another week. It's nearing Christmas, all the rest of it. What are the celebrations like? The bits you can
pretty good celebrations. We keep it relatively PG for the pod, but yeah, I know it was good. To be fair, it was a long time coming. Like we were there last year and had tasted the defeat of it in a final, and that was pretty sickening. You still have a good night out after a final anyway, for your celebration of getting there, but it's not quite the same until you win it. So yeah, we definitely made up for last year's loss on Saturday night and on Sunday. So the cup is a lovely shaped cup, so it fills well, shall we say, with water and other beverages that you could fill it with. Yeah, we were well hydrated.
Great stuff. And now the provincials have been announced. The fixtures there. What's the plan for you the next couple of months?
Yeah, so we rolled straight into it. It's a busy period, really. We're kind of finished club season now for the league part of the season, essentially. And we rolled straight into interprovincials, like those of us who are lucky to be involved. So I'll be involved with Leinster, and we're literally back there again now this evening. With that group, so there's a really good group there. And then we'll train over Christmas, have a few training camps together as well to kind of get bedded in with all the different people from all the different clubs kind of coming together to make up Leinster, and the same for Munster, Connacht, Ulster, all of the same over Christmas. And then the 7th of January, we're straight into the matches with that. So it's busy period coming up, but it's great. Like that's what you want to be doing. You want to be involved in it, involved in the higher levels of it, and be playing matches. So it's a very after all the times of COVID of no games and stuff, it's still a very welcome occasion to have the matches of that caliber as well. So it's exciting times ahead.
It certainly is. And in terms of Ireland, where's your relationship with Ireland right now?
in terms of the national playing team, or just the country in general?
The national playing. I mean, we can go that broad if you like, but yeah. So we do try to keep sort of under an hour for the pod.
Yeah, we'll keep it that. Oh no, look,
national playing team.
It's very much obviously the last national camps we would have been leading us up to going away on our tour to Japan. Obviously we were devastated not to be, making it to New Zealand for a World Cup, but we've kind of had a different trajectory of where we're going, and we take a lot of learnings out of Japan as a group, and then we have ourselves back into clubs since then, and then obviously back now into interprovincials. And the way it'll work is that kind of your squad for Ireland is basically picked within obviously the girls who are over playing in the Prem, and then the girls who will play in interprovincials and stand out and do well playing with that. We'll be hoping that you put your hand up and that you're able to kind of hopefully get yourself in for those training camps or into the likes of the Celtic Cup, which will be happening as well at the end of the interprovincials, kind of to lead us into Six Nations. So there'll be lots of rugby to be played and lots of time for kind of people to put their hands up, and hopefully you'll be hoping that you're one of those people that get to be involved in it again. So fingers crossed all will go well in that department.
Indeed so. Do you sense there's been a change? It's well documented, sort of choppy waters that Irish women have been on, and letters from players and all that kind of stuff. But new man at the top, and when he's not playing his guitar or on the piano singing away, which he does brilliantly, just as well he's an even better coach, in my opinion. But do you sense there's a new kind of beginning? I'm just talking to Kelsey Jones on the pod as well, and with Wales there's a sense of a new chapter. Scotland as well. Is that the same in Ireland as you as a player?
Yeah, absolutely. You got to adjust to what's there, and obviously where we're not making a World Cup, we have that opportunity to go away and play 2 international test matches and have that prolonged period of time together while in Japan and beforehand. So we really felt the benefits of that. And obviously then we had a lot of new caps on that tour as well, a lot of new faces coming in, and a lot of really young girls coming in there with serious talent. So yeah, definitely it's looking up for us in terms of going forward of what's coming through there in key positions. You got the likes of Dana O'Brien coming in there at 10, Aoife Dalton in the middle there as well, as a centre. And these are really young girls, Natasha Behan as well, Maeve Deely. There's girls that are playing and have got the experience now from playing at the top level of club level in Ireland and got reps there for their clubs as well. So it's all going to benefit it. But yeah, it's a positive time for us. And as I said, it's an exciting period where we all kind of get to go against each other now come the interprovincials to see what everybody's about before, hopefully putting your hand up to be back involved in a national side.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Hannah, we will leave it there. No, you've still got Christmas shopping to do?
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah, unfortunately. Still.
Glad you're in that camp as well. That's good.
Yeah.
Panic buy, throw a bit of money at it, job done. And what's the plans of Christmas? Round family?
Yeah, I'll head home. So Galway is home for me. So I'll head home from the east to the west, and I will spend time with family there. Yeah, between dogs and babies, we'll have a nice busy house. So it'll be a nice time to chill out with the family for a while.
Magic. Hannah, thank you so much. Have a great festive season. Many congratulations to you and the rest of the girls at Blackrock. Fabulous win for you. And as you say, nice bit of revenge, and all the best for the next couple of months.
Cheers. Thanks, me and Johnny. Appreciate it.
Staying in the Six Nations for the rest of our news, the Welsh Rugby Union has come to an amicable resolution with its former General Manager of Women's Rugby, Charlotte Watham, who had launched an employment tribunal proceedings over claims of sexual discrimination. We wish Charlotte all the very best for the future. Over in France, the Elite One got up and running weekend or two ago. So there's 2 pools of 5 culminating playoffs in May. In Pool 1, Poole beat Toulouse 6-3, not a classic, but what a start for Pau over the champions. Montpellier won at Stade Rennais 3-15, and Stade Bordelais also won on the road at Chili Mazin. In Pool 2, Blackrock opened their campaign with a 32-10 win at Lille. Grenoble shook Clermont to win 27-12, and Lyon went down to 17-10 to Bobogny. Last weekend, obviously round 2, saw Montpellier and Stade Bordelais chalk up their second wins over Lens and Stade Rennais respectively. And in Pool 2, Lyon bounced back, beating Lille on the road, and Blagnac made it 2 from 2 with a 29-10 victory over Grenoble. Staying in France, there's been a coaching shake-up with the former Test star Gail Mignot, who will co-coach alongside David Ortiz, with both being promoted from their roles as assistant coaches. They replaced Thomas Darroch, who has left the role for family reasons. Anik Hirot continues her role as team manager. So some good news there for women in coaching. Although over in South Africa, they're on the market for a new head coach, with Stanley Raubenheim leaving his post at the end of this month. What an exciting role that promises to be alongside Lynn Cantwell, and what a great way to sign off for Stanley at the World Cup in New Zealand. And last but not least, news from England and the Premier 15s. It was confirmed last week by the RFU that 8 clubs have been selected via the tender process and offered a place in the Premier 15s competition from 23-24 season, subject to signing of a shareholder and other agreements. The club selected at this stage, I think it's important to say that, at this stage, following a competitive tender process which saw strong proposals submitted, are Bristol Bears, Ealing Trailfinders, Exeter Rugby Club, Gloucester-Hartpury, Harlequins, Leicester Tigers, Loughborough Lightning and Saracens. Huge congratulations initially straight off the bat to Leicester Tigers and to Ealing Trailfinders. By all accounts, the tendering process was highly professional and no stone was left unturned. So to get through that pretty much straight off the bat is very commendable. And obviously Leicester is a hugely hot rugby bed. The league has the capacity for 10 teams, and while a number of clubs have not been selected to enter at this stage, there is the potential for clubs to join the league at a later stage. This is all from the RFU press release. And the RFU and Women's Premier 15s Limited, WP 15, will continue to work with these clubs on their potential to participate in the league. The selection panel also made a strong recommendation for the RFU and WP 15 to explore how greater geographical spread can be provided in the league. This process will begin in January, when discussions with clubs and institutions will take place and will form part of the RFU's wider review of the women's competition structure in England. Now, on the face of this, and I think that's important again to say, on the face of this has caused some real emotion across social media. That's the way that everybody does it nowadays, isn't it? And I think particularly around Sale. We understand the uncertainty around Worcester at the moment and all they've gone through, but boy, doesn't the heart go out to their players, and what a response on the field last weekend from them. I've checked in with Joe Yap. Wasps, again, very uncertain. Seems like the sort of heart and soul has been sort of ripped out of the club with everybody sort of jumping off the sinking ship. So you understand that one. DMP, I think the ship has sort of sailed there, and that opportunity to give them some support went several years ago. When they were shipping 3-figure scores from the very off in the Premier 15s. But I think it's the Sale decision at the moment that has caused high emotion. On the face of it, Sale have done nothing wrong. Sale have done everything that's been asked of them, created a club, got some brilliant coaches. Not to begin with, didn't get everything right, but got some really good coaches in now. Some young players, got some young players coming through the academy as well. And this season, really beginning to string some performances and therefore some results together. On the face of it, they've been binned off out of the league. But I think hearing what I'm hearing behind the scenes and stuff that isn't for air, that is not the case, or the RFU doesn't want that to be the case, and that probably won't be the case when the league starts out. But for my money, it would be nice to have a press conference and actually speak to someone from the RFU just to clear up a few of these things, because we do our due diligence in asking people about the situation, and we here on the WRP, we spoke to the RFU to have a representative to come and answer a few questions on the pod today. That was refused. We've spoken to Sale and Worcester if they wanted to have a mouthpiece here, but both sides as it were. But I think it's probably a good idea to take the Christmas break for the emotions to calm down and see where we are then, and just get a little bit more clarity on it, because I think that's what it's missing at the moment. I thought the timing of the announcement's pretty strange. Friday afternoon, everyone goes off for Christmas, and we can't sort of get any more in-depth answers than we would like to some fairly obvious questions. But hey-ho, that is the way that it's been done, and those are the clubs at the moment. But I think it will change, and change fairly significantly come the new year. Round 3 a couple of weeks ago now, foul weather put paid to the Worcester versus Bristol and DMP Wasps games. Loughborough were humbled 54 points to 5 by Exeter. Sale were beaten 40 points to 3 at the hands of Quins. And in a statement result, Gloucester-Hartpury beat the champion Saracens at their place 53-7. Last weekend, Exeter thumped Quins 27-0. Gloucester-Hartpury put 61 points on DMP. Bristol just about squeezed past Loughborough Lightning, 31 points to 26, while Sale Saracens was postponed in a highly emotional fixture. Worcester showed all their character and smashed Wasps 50 points to 0. So at this early stage, Gloucester-Hartpury lead the pack, dropping just 1 point. Exeter in second and Bristol in third. Quins make up the top 4. Let's have a word now, though, with one of those leading lights in the leading team at the moment. One of the great entertainers from the Circus. Here's Kelsey Jones.
I'm Gary Street, and you're listening to the Women's Rugby Pod.
It is a very jolly Merry Christmas to Kelsey Jones from Gloucester-Hartpury and Wales. Merry Christmas, Kelsey. How are we?
Merry Christmas. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yes, very good. I need a haircut, but apart from that, we're all good. What's Christmas shaping up for you? Your family girl, get that impression. So into the deep bosom of the family, is it for Christmas?
Yeah, quite lucky now. We're able to train at home and things. So back home with the family, annoying my niece, or she's annoying me. I don't know which way around it is, but yeah, definitely just Christmas shopping done, ready to enjoy time with some family. So yeah.
Great stuff. Look, you've been back a little time now, and obviously we got you on to have a little chat about Gloucester-Hartpury, the Circus. Again, we'll get into that as well. But yeah, you've been back from New Zealand now. Just reflections on that tournament, and you know, how well you think you did and Wales did.
Firstly, what an experience. What a beautiful country. What an amazing experience. Just an absolute whirlwind of emotions, a roller coaster of a ride. Honestly, there's so much that could be said, but ultimately amazing experience. You know, it was exciting to see so many contracts introduced, to the point that every girl that was out there was contracted to be able to concentrate on rugby and on that World Cup. So you know, that's the forefront of it, is that we had nothing else to worry about back home other than the sole focus to be on rugby. So to start off like that was amazing. That was like, to just have that focus on rugby makes such a difference. But yeah, you know, we're really building as a squad. Great to have Johan on board with us, and now obviously he signed a contract as well to stay with us until the next World Cup, which personally, since being involved in the setup, you know, we've had a bit of disruption in regards to coaches, so it's good to just have that be able to build connections then with your coach, and like have that comfortable area there, and certainty, I guess, because it's just always been uncertainty. So yep. Yeah, you know, I think we're in a good place at the minute. We're building to something really big. It's a really exciting squad, really exciting squad. And I think, you know, the World Cup, we really built on what we're trying to achieve. By all means, there's still a lot of progress to be made, but already you can see the difference with the contracts being in place, allowing girls to just focus on their rugby. And I think the biggest thing for us has been like having that time to recover. So obviously you always put 100% into your rugby regardless, but being able to recover and actually focus on rugby, whether it comes down to analysis, your rehab, your prehab, there's so much that goes into being a professional athlete. So just being able to have that time to allow us to do that has been a huge impact. So definitely, yeah, it's going good.
It's our professional contract almost like a petrol tank. You want to be full all the time to give the full engine the full noise. But if there's only a quarter of a tank because you've had to make your lunch and eat that in the car and then travel to do and then do your 8-hour work and do it, there's only so much in the tank, so you can only give so much. And you know, that's an awful analogy, but yeah, I know what I mean.
It makes sense to me as well. Like, I'm very much someone that likes to put 100% into something, but back when I was working with Gloucester Rugby, you know, you put a little bit into the rugby and you put a little bit into your work, and then actually you're not giving anything 100%, and I kind of hated that a little bit. So yeah, just being able to have that focus, and you know, when I say like recovery, physically 100%, but also like mentally being able to switch off a little bit, because obviously when you're going back into work the next day, 8 o'clock in the morning, you work all day, you go straight to rugby training, it's yeah, it's tough. So that's been huge as well, like mentally huge improvements. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, so you kind of we just got Rachel Malcolm on the pod as well, contracts there. Ireland have got themselves at the table as well, you guys, and just seamlessly moving from one to the other. New era, new start to the season at Gloucester-Hartpury, down at the Circus there. What an amazing start to the season. Can you tell us why you called the Circus?
There are a lot of antics that go on.
Careful now.
We enjoy our time together. You know, we are a circus, but one big family. It's because we're a dysfunctional family, put it that way.
Dysfunctional family of performers.
Definitely, literally. Nah, there's no place I'd rather be, if I'm being honest.
Oh, this is me, you know. Ooh, no.
Hey, that is our song.
Is it?
Yeah, we always listen to it. If we're running out at the Al Pass Arena, that's usually the song we'll put on to run out to. So
I genuinely didn't know that. My word, crystal ball's working well. But no, look, it's been outstanding start to the season. Obviously, you know, a good win over DMP. Would go to suspect you would probably expect you to go there and do that. But if not many put 53 points on the reigning champions at their place. Caveat: there's some players missing, but on both sides. But what do you put this start to the season down to?
Honestly, like, and I'll always say it, but we are building and building and building, and I think we have over the last couple of years. But I think this year we're really seeing the progress and the depth that we have in the squad. Of course, obviously the cup was first with a couple of the girls away with the World Cup, but even then, our girls that aren't internationals, like, we have so much depth in our squad, and I think we've really focused and built that this season we've really been able to hit the ground running. And I think it's really good, like, no matter who's starting, who's on the bench and who's missing out, like, we've got such good players there. Like, that's just the way it's going to be throughout the season. And some people may look at that and think, oh, like, not really great, you're not going to be playing, but actually it's such an opportunity because the competition is there, and that's exactly what you want to be better. Like, we're very much being able to push each other to be better players. And I think, you know, throughout training as well, you're able to see that transfer onto the pitch. You know, a huge thing for us as well is to focus on ourselves. And a lot of people say it, and we've said it over the years, but I think, like, we're building something exciting, and we feel that bubbling, and actually we are just focusing on ourselves and what we can do against these teams. So yeah, honestly, it's been great so far, and I'm actually loving every minute of it.
Oh, great! Well, it's great to come back to something like that. It's not off the back of a World Cup when no doubt there's a bit of fatigue and whatever. Some new signings in there. Who's making some waves in the changing room? Who's making some waves on the training park?
I think I've got a new best friend in Maud. Maud Muir is
Everyone loves Maud.
Girls I have ever met. No, she's a great human, great player. You know, you got Alex Matthews coming in and debut on the weekend, scoring. What more could you ask for players coming back? You know, and then we've already got Zoe Allcroft. So, you know, there's exciting names in the squad. And yeah, they're all contributing something to the squad, and it's really, really exciting.
I known Mo for a fair few years now. Well documented. Not going to the World Cup and whatever. I suspect she's been more because she's kind of mother of the group. Everyone could pop round, have tea, and and all the rest of it. She's always been like that, sort of, this sort of spiritual captain of the side for many years. But I suspect the bit has been well and truly between her teeth this season. Would that be about right?
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough, isn't it, to hear that? And I think a lot of people were shocked. So I can only imagine, obviously, how she feels. But like a blessing in disguise, maybe in a way for Gloucester, because she was able to be there with the girls, like throughout the cup, build something. And Sarah Beckett as well, another name that was unfortunate to not be able to get a spot on that plane to go to New Zealand. So another great signing for us, and as you've seen her, she's been playing like amazingly. It's exciting, and I think, yeah, like I said, maybe a bit of a blessing in disguise for Gloucester, because they've been the forefront and a leader for them throughout the cup, and then building into the Prem. It's one of those.
Yeah, no, well, she's she's a very energetic character. Sitting top of the league, only dropped a point. You've beaten the top sides already. Worcester up next in January, bit of time off now. Where are you with your career and you're part of a exciting time with the contracts and what have you? How happy are you with where you are, Kelsey Jones? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
I as long as I'm enjoying playing the sport, I really don't mind. I'm always going to push myself to be the best I can be. It's great in club. I've got 2 international other hookers with me pushing me to be the best in Connie Powell and Neve Jones. So, I just try and focus on myself, try and better myself in every way I can. And obviously we've touched upon it, but the contracts, like, that's really allowing me to be able to do that. I think sometimes throughout the Six Nations last year, I'll be honest, I found myself in a bit of a dark hole, because the year before that I had the neck injury, so I missed out of the autumns that year, and then I came back into the Six Nations this year. But with balancing the work and rugby training, and because a lot of the girls were either full-time or part-time then, and I still had no contract, it was extremely tough, mentally, physically, emotionally, as you can imagine. So yeah, just having that little taste of professionalism. We don't know what's going to happen in the new year yet, but hopefully we won't be taking steps backwards in regards to contracts. And fingers crossed I can put my hand up and do everything I can to be given another opportunity to be able to say I'm a professional rugby player next year. And that will just allow me the time to progress on and, really like try and make a name for myself, enjoying my rugby, but also putting on a show for other people. So yeah, it's exciting.
You love your ruggers, don't you?
Yeah, I really do. I couldn't imagine life without it now, which is weird because I didn't start until I was 16, 17. So yeah, a little bit later than others, but now I can't imagine life without it.
Brilliant. No, yeah, late bloomer, but there are some. It sounds like a weird thing. You love your ruggers, you play for your country, but there are some players who don't particularly, like the sport, to do physically, but don't kind of have any interest. But I guess being Welsh helps that. It's in the blood. But no, you always play with a massive smile on your face, and it's always joyous to see that. Just one last question before I let you get on. You've probably done all your rapping as well, have you?
No, I haven't.
Yes,
so
gotta.
That is one thing I really don't like doing, is rapping. So I've kind of like sort of put my presence in my sister's room because she enjoys it with the wrapping paper, and I'm like, hello, just wrap these for Mum, Dad, Connie. So yeah,
brilliant, nice. Well, look, I hope you've got a bicycle to wrap. Anyway, now back to Worcester. Look, as you say, look, near perfect start to the season. A squad across the board. You've spoken about the depth. It looks in an incredible place. Sean Lynn, obviously a good guy, well respected, well liked across the league in and outside of the club. What's the prediction for this season? What are the targets? Have you set targets? We set top 4. This is our year to win it. We've got to be a semi-final. Got to be a home semi. Where are the expectations within the group?
Do you know what? We actually haven't had much conversation around that, and I think any squad would be lying if they said they're not going to aim for the top 4. I mean, that's the aim, right? You play rugby, you want to win, you want to be the best.
Of course.
So we haven't really actually like set any targets other than definitely going to go for top 4. But I think we're very much taking every game as it comes. We don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Like, what's exciting is there's a lot of conversation around Gloucester-Hartpury now. We have people talking about us, which is really exciting. Spotlight's on us, but that's where we need to come back down a little bit and be like, right, what's our next game? What's our targets for that game? And how are we going to achieve getting another win against them? So, personally, I want to go and win it. I definitely want to go and win it. There's no reason why we can't this year. As long as we keep doing what we're doing, focusing on each game that is coming our way, and getting 5 points every time. I mean, I don't see why we can't. But yeah, taking every game as it comes. We'll have this Christmas break, train over Christmas break by ourselves, and then get back in the new year running, ready to hit the ground and play Worcester.
Yeah, no, great stuff. And it does seem, because 2-3 years ago, it certainly wasn't the case. It was very much Hartpury, not Gloucester-Hartpury, but the club of buying in, and James Forrest has been doing, I know, some excellent work behind the scenes. It's an interesting league, and it's anybody's there. But look, we will let you get on with your eggnog making and surreptitiously pushing Presidency to your sister's room to wrap. Just don't give her own to wrap, would be my only advice.
Yeah, to be fair, I'll put it out there. Me and my sisters have said we're not going to do presents this year. We'll focus on the other family members. So lovely. That's not too bad, as long as we're in agreement.
Kelsey, really, really nice to chat to you. Thanks so much for joining us on the WRP. And yeah, keep smiling.
No, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
That's about it for this week. Just for me to say a very Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Just a couple of shout outs. UAE national girls team, our Asia Rugby Sevens under-18s champions, beating India 26-5 in the final. Liz Patu and Lil Batabasinga, the Wallaroos, have both announced their international retirements. Not a huge amount of caps, but Australia don't play a huge amount of rugby, but they've been great servants on and off the field for the Wallaroos. And well done, and all the best with your next steps in whatever you are doing. And lastly, to Wicklow Rugby Club in winning their first National Rugby Trophy, a ringing endorsement of their hard work and progress this season in what is only their second year in the AIL Ireland League ranks. 12 months ago they were bottom of the table, but now AIL Ireland League Women's Conference winners 22-17 over Galwegians. Well done to them. And one last reminder, Harlequins against Bristol on the 27th. I think it's all sold out at the Stoop now. It's been had to move big game. That's now been postponed till March. So they've dropped down to the bungalow next door to the Stoop. 1:30 on BT Sport for that one as well. Just remains for me to say a big thank you to our guests, Hannah O'Connor, to Kelsey Jones, of course the Doc, Rachel Malcolm. Big thank you to Tom and Vicky as well. Have a very, very Merry Christmas. See you next time.